Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your monthly peace report. We are back, baby. Welcome to Scorpio season. And congratulations. You have officially crossed the finish line. Okay, I am, of course, referencing this 1 degree square. Normally, I would have done this top of the next week so I could do them all in a day, but I didn't want to miss this. I didn't want to miss this intro, this square right here. And yeah, I'm going to break down this Scorpio season for you. Scorpio season 2024. I want to take into account, of course, the previous months that we came up to get here. As you know, I freestyle these. Ain't no script. I will moving forward, not anytime soon. I won't be opposed. Yeah, I just noticed that it changed I noticed the names are looking different. So I guess it does the at names. But yeah, I when I bring back the transit talks, I want them to actually be better produced, have segues, actually function like a show. And we'll still be talking back and forth. But yeah, just to give you an idea. But for now, off the dome as I do. It's a good exercise. In order to, what do I think about the 3 Atlas stuff? Totally clueless. Like I barely just found out about that like last week. So I'm taking a later approach to stuff, even when it comes to new music, given the hype that surrounds things. I've really been embracing Jomo. It's so much more. I just really like it. I like to wait after people stop talking about it and then go in to see, what it is. But that being said, yeah, I don't know anything about 3 Atlas. I'm going to wait till after it comes by and see what people are saying, see what it was. But stuff, as Pluto goes further into Aquarius, alien disclosure, fake or real, we're going to be seeing more tales about this. As far as whether aliens are real or not, shoot, I like to think within 20 years we'll find out if a higher advanced civilization pretty much designates we're no longer ghetto. And I'm joking. But yeah, I actually like to call this next 20 years of Pluto Aquarius from 2024 to 2044 the advanced society arc. We'll see if that actually rings true. Global innovation, for better or for worse. I think one of the major final boss moments, we know that the Pluto Capricorn final boss moment coming into the period before were the mandates and just these changes in legislature. The final boss now, it looks like it's going to be digital IDs. As far as looking at people pushing back and other global conflicts. So that sounds like fun. All right. But that being said, in order to really appreciate Scorpio season, it is very important to really examine the beginning of the year. Because if you understand this Scorpio season as the depth of breakthrough that took decades in the making, it's going to make a lot more sense why it feels a lot more like things are breaking through. You're going to see a very clear transformation. Okay. What was that song you sent me? Wally in the vagina. I can't believe I see that. That is hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. I didn't know I needed to see Tom McDonald in a Rasta uniform. I can't unsee that, honestly. I think he needs to make music just like that now. But it is what it is. That being said, I think it's very important. Shout out to the Antares Moons. I think it's very important to take into account everything you've done since January 23rd and everything you've done since, of course, March and late May. These are going to be very important dates over the next couple of years, which now make periods like this Scorpio season very fulfilling, because completion points will shift throughout time. For example, back in the 60s, when Pluto was in Virgo of a social sign, a lot of what you're experiencing now is a direct consequence of the previous Saturn cycle. Like I mentioned in a previous video, a lot of these gangs, a lot of the, which started off as community movements, a lot of these organizations got their kickoff, or got, you know, there was a boom in the 50s, 60s, 70s. You had all these social movements through the 60s, 70s, and it's not a coincidence. You had outer planets in the social signs from like 50s to late 90s. Okay. So when Pluto was, say, in Virgo, when the Pluto Virgo generation was being born, completions to Sun Pluto cycles would happen in Gemini season. When it was in Scorpio during the 90s, every Leo season was the completion. When Pluto entered Sagittarius, it was Virgo. When Pluto entered Capricorn 2008 to 2024, Libra season was where we completed these boss battles. So now it's in Scorpio. Why is that even more specific? That is even more relevant if you are a Pluto Scorpio. So Pluto Scorpio seasons are going to hit that much deeper for you. And don't worry, I'm going to make the special generation videos. I didn't want to just put stuff out. I wanted to really take time to organize the thoughts, because the whole generation series, I'll make a whole series of videos just giving messages to Pluto Scorpio, Pluto Sag, Pluto Virgo, and they're going to be really fun to look at these things in that view. But, you know, with Pluto squaring the Pluto Scorpio generation, you're going to be carrying forth what people born, let's say 72, 71 to 85, Pluto Libra, they just finished their Pluto square. Now they're going through the Pluto trine that Pluto Virgo went through, okay, which I think is like 58 to 61, so, or 71. So now you know we're going through the square. It's specifically 86, 84, 88, 89. You guys are the first ones to go to the square. So the rest of us in the 90s are looking at you guys like, shiver me timbers. Like if we look at you guys and you guys look like you're fucked, we know we're next. If we look at you guys and you guys look like you're good, we know we're next. It's just like fingers crossed, okay? Because Pluto Scorpio is where the tide really intensifies, and we start to see mass social transformation that built up from Pluto Virgo, Pluto Leo, Pluto Virgo, Pluto Libra. Okay. And then Pluto Sagittarius, Gen Z, they're burning down Nepal. They're starting revolutions. That's a whole new world. They're creating a whole new world. That's the cutoff. They are like, fuck the hot potato. Pushed it away. No other generation did that before. So everyone's shook. Like, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. They don't care. So that being said, Pluto Scorpio is like the last generation that still had fax machines, that still went outside to play before there were iPads everywhere. Like we still know what it's like to wait outside in the club and then leave at 2. Yeah, people do it now, but no one goes to the club like that anymore. So this is going to really reflect, you know, us in our 30s and 40s, how we kind of push forward with that. But yeah, with that being said, now that Pluto is in Aquarius and generation Beta is being born, okay, every Leo and Scorpio season is that bridge of breakthrough. And the whole theme of this year, the most important theme of this year, is Saturn and Neptune leaving Pisces. Saturn and Neptune is ending an entire era. That's why I use staples like Pokemon. You could do the NBA, the NFL, like any industry. Study any industry from 95, 96 to now. Look at its legacy. Look what made it. Look what didn't sustain. That's going to really tell you the story of where we might be going. Because, like, for example, I always like to use Pokemon. Ash started his journey when we were kids. And now my dude finally won a championship. And the reason why I like looking at that as a franchise is, what's the new face of Pokemon, right? What's the new face of the franchise? You're starting to see people complain about the games. not necessarily being as whatever, even though it's kind of ironic that a lot of the people complaining about these children's games are adults my age, but I don't give a fuck. Like I understand it too. Like it was a good game series. I don't feel like the age is enough to make an excuse. It's a good criticism, but it's giving you the idea that something new IPs are coming, and there's precedence for this. Okay, so the last time this happened, it was Looney Tunes. It was Hanna-Barbera. You had a lot of reruns. You had a lot of rehashes. And then boom, by the 90s, they got replaced. This is reminiscent of that. So it's important to understand that we're sneak peeking this new world, phasing out old regulations, old management globally, collective beliefs that ruled the world, especially with Pluto and Aquarius awakening so much more extraordinary scientific literature, for better and for worse. It's not all going to be good. It's not all going to be bad. So this is just very exciting to me. That's what's going to make the next 2 years take on this very new quality. And the reason why I'm saying that is what that feels like is like you're stuck in the air. It feels like you're in this weird, strange limbo period. And that's why I'm saying congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. As you can see, Scorpio season coming into Sagittarius season is breaking through into the light. By Sagittarius season, we're going to see what direction we take through Capricorn to bring in this new world. And basically, and thank you for mentioning Uranus, which is getting ready to go back into Taurus, which is the beginning of Scorpio season and the end of Scorpio season are starting off with a bang. Okay, we're starting Scorpio season off with the square. We're ending Scorpio season off with the Uranus opposition. So like this is going to be spooky. This is I think this is going to be very rewarding for those of you who did not give up on yourself. So like either you're breaking through unexpectedly and exponentially with this Uranus opposition with ridiculous amounts of wealth, or the light and path is cleared for you. A lot of things that you were not necessarily clear on with the Sag signature trying to Neptune Pisces, you're going to see very clearly that wisdom of previous experience is going to scream at you. So the path will be there, or you're being rewarded for the path. That's the attitude I want you to take. Remember our affirmation for this year. We set for life, baby. Uranus and Taurus. Our income is unconventional. A lot of things are going to get replaced, especially with AI and automation. I know nothing about that, so I'm not going to act like an expert. But I did look into AI 2027. I made that AI 2027 video. And one thing that I realized is that the last time we had North Node Pluto in Aquarius, right? 1765, I believe. One thing, the United States became an official currency. That blew my mind because USD is very close to being the official cryptocurrency. Do you think that's a coincidence? Do you think that's a coincidence that the last time Uranus was in Taurus, as you see, Uranus is coming out of Taurus. The last time Uranus was in Taurus was around the 1930s, and America was in a Great Depression. And now 21 states in the middle of a government shutdown are saying they might be in a recession, right? Between the 30s and now, there have been fluctuations in the economy. So it's not like this is the first time we've been in a recession or a depression since then. But it's interesting to kind of note that correlation, if we can call it, unless it's not a causation or a correlation. But going into Uranus and Gemini, America shortly entered World War II. The last time Neptune was in Aries, America had its first civil war. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen again. I would hope not, unless it's necessary. But it's just interesting to note how we have come back around in this cycle. And like I mentioned, America is getting ready, I think, with other countries to establish a new type of currency. The last time the North Node was also on Pluto in Aquarius, the water loom was invented, innovation that the new moon is going to be in about a month from now, like November 20 something. We'll get the exact date. But yeah, the water loom was invented, which was a major invention, which pushed the first great industrial revolution. What I think that's going to be is AI 2027. Because I was wondering, okay, North Node Pluto is going to be something revolutionary. And whoever predicted AI 2027 knows a lot more than they're letting on. You definitely want to look at that website and read it. They've been on point with predictions so far. I mean, these are experts in their field. I think it's not far off to say that it'll take 30 years. You could say that we're going to activate this new 30-year cycle next year, and it might take 27 to 30 years to reach AGI, or it could take until 2027, and that could be the point that pushes through this next great industrial revolution. So we will see, but I'm saying this to know there's a lot to look forward to. There's always a lot to look forward to, but your approach to this is why I use the analogy of Noah's Ark. So this is the year we deboarded Noah's Ark, and the retrograde back into Pisces before it goes into Aries is we finished floating around after God flooded the world, after the 3-4 year apocalypse period, beginning of the end 2020, middle of the end 2022, end of the end 2024, end game. We are wrapping up the end game. The last 6 months is the closure of the end game. This is the equivalent of now finally embarking Noah's Ark, the Ark on land, and now you're deboarding it. You're going back to the ship, Saturn retrograde, and you're getting ready to now, by next year, push forward. And now the analogy for Noah's Ark is your belief systems. Noah had to develop belief systems in something that was not even known in that period. I think it might have never rained. And I'm using this as an analogy, right? And whether it rained or not, it never flooded. So like it's the analogy of developing belief systems that you develop while no one believes in. And now because of it's not as simple as having beliefs. Saturn wants you to have integrity in them. So 2023, 2024, and 2025, every Virgo season made sure that as we broke through the 180-degree opposition to Saturn in Virgo, we were making sure our beliefs could be behavioral patterns. We can make our beliefs habits. This is the last year of that, because now when we go into Aries and we now apply these belief systems into this reimagination of the integrity of our character versus beliefs, the belief systems are meant to form a self-concept. And then Saturn going into Aries is you having integrity over this concept. So when we have the Libra season oppositions, it's no longer how do we turn beliefs into habits? How do we apply this self-concept to now actually walk it with other people? And that's what's going to, with the Saturn in its fall, complicate things, but also add so much more power through the self-healing. And now it makes sense why Chiron had to go through Aries, so we really learn to heal and love ourselves again, forgive ourselves for certain ego mishaps, and to get the fuck out of our egos, and to maybe not overstate our self-importance, but also respect ourselves and know what more we deserve. Uranus in Taurus through 2018 was challenging you to innovate your sense of self-worth. I'll say you do this right, where you can still have a grounded sense of financial assets physically, but you need to be crazy and deranged enough to walk around as if your net worth is infinite. You need to walk around like you're Bitcoin in 2012. And you know you're about to hit 100 grand by 2025, and no one else knows. I'm going to say it again. You need to walk like you are Bitcoin in 2010, 2012, and people are like, what the fuck's a cryptocurrency? That's not going to be anything. Ha, bitch, I'm rich now. Thank you. Like 13 years later, what's up? Truth. Okay. Thank you. If you're lucky enough like Markel to believe that since birth, you're going to be straight, because then you'll communicate it in unconventional ways when Uranus goes into Gemini, and that's when you're really going to see the magic. Okay, it's not enough to just say these things and expect stuff to happen. We needed the groundedness to innovate your values and your sense of self-worth. so that you can sense this and then communicate. All right. So yeah. We're going to highlight very important aspects to give you an idea of what makes this Scorpio season very exciting. I want you to see this Scorpio season as the transformation into the realm of the gods, where we will ascend in Sagittarius, start to get a higher perspective, and transition into this portal through North Node Pisces into a whole new world. I'll save the song for Aries season. So with that being said, y'all, let's get this show on the road. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, if you would like a live reading, click the description box below and you can join the queue. If you would like for me to interpret your chart, okay, you are more than welcome to just send your chart or your sun, moon, or rising, and I will break down what the Scorpio season will be like for you. I will also mention this in the middle of the live, but we have a spooky Scorpio season sale, baby. Okay. So for those of you, what the fuck? Oh my God. For those of you who would like 30% off readings, the discount is automatic. Okay. And you are more than welcome to take advantage. Let me make sure it's an automatic sale. I'm pretty sure it's automatic sale. Yep, automatic, baby. So 30% off all reports. You guys will definitely be supporting me. I recently got approved for DoorDash. So I want to save up for an e-bike. I saw one on Temu for like $200. So as soon as I get that, we gonna cop that and then see what I can do with that. Okay. Should have went with 33. Missed opportunity. So yeah, with that being said, every dollar spent will definitely go towards helping me with that, but not necessary. Make sure you actually want a reading, of course. But yeah, wouldn't suggest the Temu bike. I know. I might as well though, just to start off. We'll see a discount and a ritual. But yeah, and if you want a live reading, I got that available for you guys too. What I think is very significant. Do y'all feel the Scorpio surge of energy like an afterbalance? Great question. It's going to intensify. And that's where I want to really bring, of course, and Force Fairy Tarot. I'm looking forward to the before and after tarot. She's my tarot card plug. All right. I gave away all my decks, so she's really helping me inadvertently kind of restore them again. And I'm looking forward to that. So that being said, one of the first things we're going to look at. So here are the major aspects we're going to look at to really study. And to do that, we're going to hop into the Peace Mobile 2.0. By the way, real ones know the original Peace Mobile with planetwatcher.com, baby. All right. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Kirk Khan. I wish he was able to make the next Planet Watcher. But real ones know the original Peace Mobile. Oh, yeah. See, the Planet Watcher is on sale. What? Yo, y'all gotta look at this. Look at how much Planet Watcher is on sale for. I was like, I might as well buy way. But I wouldn't be opposed to buying it, though, and finishing his work. This shit is $8,000, man. Damn. $8,000, baby. For what it's worth, though, I would make that a worthy investment. If I was committed to making a Planet Watcher, I would buy it and continue it out of respect. That being said, and I would make the money back. That's what's up. So with that being said, even if not, just as long as to keep it up for the domain name for the website. That being said, or I can lease it. But that being said, we're going to look at. Okay, least on. We're going to look at the Pluto cycle here. So the first thing we want to look at is, of course, we're going to go back to January 23rd. I want you to go back to January 23rd. I personally don't even remember what happened in January. I have to really think about that. But yeah, what did you start here, right? Intensify. And now what I mean by intensification, everything that started with this activation, we're now completing the intensification of. So Scorpio is going to intensify the pure social energy that you are feeling, or more psychoanalytically delving psychologically, I said it twice, into your own psyche. I said it 3 times. All right. But how you apply that in dealings with others, applying previous Virgoan analysis relative to habits into psychoanalysis of habits, and you know, who you can trust, but most importantly, what you are breaking through. You know, Scorpio is opposite Taurus of finances, wealth, values. So this Scorpio season for many of you could be the breakthrough financially a lot of you are waiting for, or working towards, or the maintenance and even more evolution of current financial success. All right. I'm not even going to say if you play it right thing. That was the past 6 months. So this is where we activated these seeds for the first time. The last time we had Sun conjunct Pluto in Aquarius was over 240 years ago. That's why this is huge. And look at where it is now. 1 degree. We have officially made completion from conjunction to third order square. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to look at this aspect, right? The how Scorpio season will aspect Pluto and what that means. Then we also, of course, want to look into the conjunction to Saturn and Neptune. So where were you March 14th? This is another very important aspect. So we're going to look at Scorpio season and its relationship to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Okay. This cycle is the last time we're going to activate this until another 30 years. Until next year, we have our first Sun, Saturn, Aries cycle in 30 years. Okay. And this is the primary difference between this year and next year. That's why this year feels like we're transitioning and mutably changing. And next year is going to feel like, boom, we're on go. So behind the scenes, right, you're in a position where you are shifting your perspective relative to the whole world, shifting their global beliefs. And that's going to influence where everyone individually, you know, moves forward relative to the integrity of their beliefs or lack thereof, especially ability to take accountability. Yeah. And then, of course, we want to look at the Sun-Uranus conjunction that happened, of course, the week of May 18th. This is the very last Sun-Uranus Taurus conjunction. All right. Next year, it's going to be in Gemini, baby. You see that? Whole new world. This subtle shift of alignment, whole new fucking world. And that's why I'm stressing it's so important to look at the historical precedents. So it doesn't look like I'm just, or sound like I'm just saying, oh, this is what this planet means. This is what this planet means. When you understand it is a pattern, it is a consistent, testable, repeatable pattern. It will at least help you. It doesn't mean that what happened last time is going to happen, but you'll start to recognize it and follow suit or do whatever you want, right? Relative to your approach. But this is also very important. And what's going to happen by the time we come into the new moon? Boom, it's going to oppose. So for whoever asked, the new moon is going to be on the 20th of November, 19th, 20th. This opposition, look at that. Look at that. This is glorious. So we had the conjunction, and now we're coming into the harvest. So we had the harvest of Pluto through Leo. We had the harvest of Saturn through Virgo, Libra. And we're having a harvest of Uranus through Scorpio. Very important. Okay. So Sun Pluto is awakening over the next 20 years, supernatural abilities. We want to look at this as awakening deeper layers of science, bordering into science fiction. Saturn, Pisces is our belief systems. Uranus, Taurus is full on innovation of wealth that we are seeing real time happen through cryptocurrency. Okay. Amongst other, and even traditional stocks, mind you. It's not just crypto, but there's even a change in the regular market. I'm not a market analyst or expert, but like we're going to tie this here. And that's why it's important to know the last time Uranus was here before it went into Gemini and America entered World War II, we do see, of course, the previous Great Depression. What I want to look into is the astrology of 1912 and 1913 and 1914. As far as all the establishments that were built before, boom, we had World War I very conveniently. So with that being said, even though, of course, Ferdinand got shot, blah, 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 blah. But with that being said, right, I think what we are getting ready to push forward to with this full-on innovation of technology and probably a huge replacement of workforce and environment and jobs, right? I think we finally reached the precipice of where now it's going to really feel like we're breaking through. And it's important to honor that Libra season, Virgo and Libra season were the first step towards that. Virgo and Libra were relative to establishing a change of your habits that align with your current system of beliefs and the application of these habits to really streamline the direction you take them to. This is where Scorpio will deeply intensify this. All right. Next, we want to also look at, of course, this is, I won't say minor, it's still very important, the activation of Jupiter. This is the new wave. This is the new wave that's going to be responsible over the next 12 years until the next new wave at around like 2037. So this is going to be trining in Scorpio. Okay. And that's where, so we're going to look at Pluto. We're going to look at the aspect to Saturn, Neptune. We're going to look at the aspect to Uranus. We're going to look at the aspect to Jupiter, and we'll cover in the personal planets. So you get a much more deeper understanding of why this Scorpio season is the critical point. Okay. So as the sun moves degree to degree, we're going to see that the sun is making a 270-degree angle to Pluto. It will make a 270-degree angle to reach back to 0 degrees so that by 2026, we have Venus, Mars, Mercury. It's going to be a whole party in Aquarius. And it's going to feel like it too. We'll see what that looks like. All right. It's 270 now. Sagittarius, it'll be 300 degrees, right? Capricorn, it'll be 330 degrees. Aquarius, it'll be 360, aka 0 degrees. And relative to that, as we are cutting the fat and transforming and releasing old habits, a lot of this 270-degree square is now the first sign of conscious completion of course, this Pluto cycle. For Saturn and Neptune, it's going to be Sagittarius. For Uranus in Taurus, it's going to be Aquarius before Uranus goes back into Gemini. Okay. So that's the first point of completion. All right. Completion is letting us know that we finished reaping what we've sowed. So you're going to be increasingly aware of the outcome of what you have reaped based on what you've sowed. And that's where we take the onus out of planets affecting us relative to what did you do during this period? What did you sow? So it's really just based on what you did and how the alignment of this facilitates your awareness of what you're coming out to so you can navigate and, of course, align as appropriately. The grim reaping. All right. That being said, And that's where it's cool to know your houses. Like, do you think it's a coincidence while the sun is going through my 6th house of work, I'm looking for an extra job? I didn't even plan it like that, but that's how it kind of played out, right? There's an intentional and unintentional sense of this. And it just adds a greater feeling of alignment. And the reason why I'm really going out of my way to really stress that there is greater breakthrough and hope is because in talking with many people this year, one common theme breaks through. It's like, I've been believing in myself, peace dealer. I've been believing in myself. And it's not with everyone. You have people breaking through in a great success, but you have people who are discouraged with the economy, who are discouraged with not necessarily seeing as much success as they're used to seeing, who are wondering, like, what the heck? I used to manifest much more fluidly and flawlessly before. A lot of what's shifting is because, yeah, you were manifesting before, but you were never really creating, manifesting, and doing stuff at the level of what you're truly capable of. So it's like, as you are expanding into this next version of yourself, what version 3.0 is doing, makes what version 1 and 2 of yourself look like nothing. So a lot of your results you're expecting, it's preparing you to aim even bigger. And that's going to look like you're behind. That's going to look like things aren't moving forward. And so the immediate, unconventional, unexpected way with which things may just suddenly start flowing forward, you don't want to get caught off guard, versus if you recognize the work you've already put in. And with the Neptune in Pisces, like Neptune in Pisces is forcing some of you to embrace non-dualism. That's why Pisces is a strange, karmic, and difficult sign. That's why Pisces are very misunderstood. You live in a society that's like, do, make this happen, make this happen. And all Pisces has been telling you is stop doing shit. Don't do shit. You're asking Pisces, what do I do about this? Nothing. But I have bills to, so do nothing. But I have to do this and I have to, okay, so then do nothing. And people are not understanding because, of course, there's that constraint. Pisces is teaching you everything that falls by the wayside because you do not, you don't need it. But it's hard for you to believe this because you're wired to believe you need so much bullshit that you really don't need. That's what makes Pisces the legend. They are the full embodiment of just being, non-dualism, non-doing. I don't have to affirm 50,000 times. I don't have to force situations and do things for a reality that for the most part is already predetermined for you. Everything is complete, especially if you believe this is a simulation. Everything is programmed and complete. You're not going to miss out on what you want. You desire it because your future self already has it. So it's not saying to do nothing and just wait for life to happen to you. It's saying to just be without the need to do anything that isn't inspired action from you. And this is farther than just, oh, I need less stress. It is forcibly changing how you believe everything as you believe more in your own presence. But many of you don't believe in your own presence because you have convinced yourself you need this constant stimulation. You need something to constantly be happening to you in order to feel like something's happening. So let me remind you that this is the only time in human history where that is the case. In no other recorded time of human history do you have people processing nearly as much information, having to do nearly as much. Most people would never leave the country they were in. You had to sail on a boat to get to another country. You didn't have border relations like that. Okay. And you have this sick culture of comparing your success to many other people, many of which grift and through fake influencing put on a lifestyle they don't even live. So it's like Saturn and Neptune are resituating your belief systems about yourself, not so that they could be more realistic, so that they can align more with who you truly are, especially beyond and outside the boundaries of what reality has told you you are. That's going to require grit, That's going to require an unshakable foundation and belief in yourself. But Saturn isn't saying it's enough to just believe in yourself. I can believe that I am a tuna fish sandwich, and I will not allow you to misspecies me. Just because I look and feel like a human breathing man doesn't mean that I'm not a sexy tuna fish. Okay. And I can believe that, but how sustainable is my belief in being a tuna fish sandwich? Can I realistically live like a tuna? Virgo season will give me the reality check. Like, you can believe you a tuna fish sandwich, but you got to pay bills like everyone else, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have such a stellar imagination that you can make it work. I've seen people make the impossible possible. That requires integrity. It's not enough to just believe it. How much can you translate those beliefs into actual habits that support in real life? Okay. What are my pronouns as a tuna fish? Blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm not even sure. My analogies be crazy. So unless you got Pisces can fully get away with just saying they're fish, and people believe them too. I hate that about y'all. I'm so jealous. I feel like Gemini thinks we're our own people, but there's a lot of shit Pisces do I wish we can get away with. Like, if Gemini got away with half the shit Pisces got away with, it'd be over for you motherfuckers. It'd be over for you motherfuckers. But that being said, okay, all this work you've put in didn't happen overnight. Saturn cycles take 30 years. We had to go through each sign 2.5 years in the making. So some of you aren't even 30. This might be your first Saturn Pisces. My first Saturn Pisces, I was 5 years old. I was 6 years old. I was 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for some of you, you were 30, right? You were born in the 60s. So that being said, right, the reason why I'm calling this completing supernatural awakening is because I want to take a more unconventional look. By the way, oh my God, Row Consulting Services, thank you so fucking much. I appreciate you. All right, I fucking appreciate that. David, oh my God, you guys are fucking awesome. Wow. Bro, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so fucking much. David, if you want a reading, if you want like a 30-minute or hour reading, email me. All right. I totally got you. Guys are fucking awesome. I got the e-bike money. I got the motherfucking e-bike money. So that's what's up. You guys are amazing. Shit, I'm gonna go buy that shit right now. Or as soon as we're done. This is super awesome. So anyone's telepathy increase, dude, thank you so much. I'm gonna immediately get on that. Get a helmet, get a basket, and see what Vegas is looking like. But you see, and that to me, I tell y'all, call y'all, lock screen hack. Hey, what's up? Hold on, let me get because some of you guys asked for the lock screen. I'm gonna upload it right now. One moment. This is the lock screen hack he's talking about. He said, Kobe said, give it 5 to 6 days, peace dealer. I'm like, all right. Only reason why I'm doing this is because you are Pisces and y'all magic is different. And damn, holy shit. So I'm gonna upload it. I thought I needed to like size it properly, but I'm gonna upload this. If you guys want this screen, I got it from Kobe, our resident Pisces. All right. I'm gonna create this post, upload it right now if you guys want to download it. And let me know how that works for you. I have it as, of course, my phone screen. Boom. There we go. There we go. There we go. So That's it. If you go to my channel, you go to posts, boom, it'll be right here. What the fuck? Oh, it just opened another screen. All right, whatever. Yeah, you guys are fucking awesome, man. I really appreciate you. So, with that being said, let's see. With that being said, let's see. This Sun Pluto square is bringing a completion in a lot of the efforts you've made. So we have the 270-degree square with Pluto. We're going to have the, of course, 240-degree square you see with Mercury and Mars right now to Saturn and Neptune. And what that's going to do is it's going to show us the higher meaning of our belief systems, the final breakthrough into how our belief systems are transforming in its application socially with others, and how what we believed since March is transforming our relationships and our dynamics. And once it goes through Sagittarius season, okay, we're going to see how we've completed that. That's why the next 2 months, the rest of the end of the year is going to be very fulfilling, especially if you've put in that work, right? You've sowed these seeds proper. And sowing these seeds proper mainly is maintaining integrity in what you believe, not just believing what you believe, but being able to adjust your beliefs if yes, being able to adjust your beliefs if you see they're not sustainable, right? That's the dark side of this. Neptune and Saturn will have people commit to beliefs that are not sustainable and lead to their death. This is where with the North Node, it's a very much so a butterfly effect thing. Small decisions and actions could lead you to be at a certain place at a certain time, seemingly unrelated to your beliefs. And this is where integrity is. You want to take this very serious. So Virgo enabled us to be aware of how we integrate this into our habits. Libra began to transform these beliefs relative to the application of these habits with other people and how we're seeing it transform that. And now Scorpio is going to show us the higher meaning of this transformation. What wisdom do we gain? That's what's going to now show us this final adjustment mutably. And then I think this is going to be that moment where it gets better and better and better and better and better. Oh. All right. So Pisces have all the information, but choosing to be stuck in the matrix and troll a simulation for real. So with that being said, okay, I think that then of course with the Jupiter trine, so we activated also this triplicity of liquidity. And I think what's really cool too is as Mercury and Mars are forming this grand water trine, we're taking actions and planning around creating more smoothness of liquidity and financial flow. We're going to be more aware of this by the new moon in Scorpio. That's going to activate more of this financial flow. So this is further encouragement to keep pushing through. Do not let up when you are crossing this finish line. This is going to exponentially create greater breakthrough. Does that mean there won't be challenges? No, there is going to be even more intentional. In fact, this square is vicious. This Pluto square is vicious. So like, just be very mindful of that. Be very mindful of your sexual energy and how you're controlling or not controlling it. But yeah, it's going to be rewarding. There's going to be very unexpected shifts that revisit how sustainable your beliefs are. Whether these shifts shatter your beliefs and now you must adapt, or whether they sustain you through because you built that arc properly. Money flows to me effortlessly. I'll say this, for those of you who have been, really working on your affirmations or really just being, right? I used to say thoughts manifest, and actually I still think they do, but really it's you. Thoughts are really the expression of you manifesting. Feelings, These are, I don't want to really choose between like methods. They're all really a part and parcel of the same thing, but really understanding that money desperately needs us, really understanding in wealth that there's a certain acceptance with this non-dualism, meaning that whether you do it or whether you don't, you really just being, and being just means not really focusing on how do I do this, not being so focused on process, which I know I was, but just enjoying your day and not having to have a reason to do that, knowing this is where Aquarian, knowing that no matter what it looks like, oh, this is going to work out for me. Law of assumption. Oh, we good. We good over here. It might feel like denial to you, but it's responsibility. It's not saying, oh, this is going to work out for me, but you're not taking yourself accountable to what you have to do. It's believing in yourself for a change. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that I said it with the word, it's going to happen. A way is going to appear for me, and I'm going to take that action as it comes up to really see this through. Shout out to Positive Attitude Aviation. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely very, very amazing, because with Jupiter now trining this, as this connects back with Saturn through Scorpio, this is what's going to show you through Sagittarius. Oh, it's happening. All right. And every degree moving forward from there, I think is going to be an amazing, element towards, once again, truly breaking through this. And of course, the Uranus opposition is going to be also era defining, because this marks, just like this marks the last Saturn Pisces going into Aries, this is going to mark the last Uranus Taurus going into Gemini. So it's going to very quickly shift the means and manner of how you not only develop wealth, but invest wealth. This Scorpio season may not only take previous investments, which, for example, I would say around that Uranus Sun Taurus was where I reinvested in XRP. It would be interesting now with the opposition to see, whether for better or for worse, the breakthrough of this investment. But it's also very good to also invest in new stocks, to reinvest. I mean, you want to ideally invest, over time. I'm not a financial expert, but, this is going to open up so much more avenues you did not see before, because you maintain the beliefs in order to spot the opportunity. So that being said, I want to carry the attitude that not only are we completing the first cycle of awakening, okay, but I really do believe that things are going to begin to get so much better for you. And if they're already good for you, you're going to maintain this. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to have no challenges, new levels, new devils. That doesn't mean there's going to be new difficulties, but you're going to recognize how exponentially stronger you have become to step there. Here's another thing that just came in my mind. What this year really represents is like, if you did not have the mindset of a billionaire and you thought like a thousandaire, you would have millions of dollars and just boom, it'd be gone, right? So the universe is shifting your belief in yourself to shift it into one that can handle this expansion, so that as you come into liquidity, you now manage it a lot more. Whereas if you came into this before, you probably would still manage it well, but you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So, with that being said, in revisiting Pluto and Aquarius, and this is a really good mindset to have, everything is possible. All right. Even me being a sexy tuna fish sandwich. All right. Don't eat me, just look at me. All right. It is what it is. But that being said, even though I'm sexy chocolate, so I don't know if you ever had chocolate tuna, don't think about it. That being said, okay, why that's very significant. What my approach to Pluto and Aquarius is supernatural awakening. As Saturn and Neptune are going to sextile Pluto next year, that's what's going to bring a direction to this. where it's like, oh, wow, we're doing stuff. I'm actually doing things with these new superpowers. Pisces of perceptual belief is your awakening through this cycle changed your belief around, can I believe I can do this? To, oh my God, I'm doing this. And if that has been your experience this year, I want you to comment awakening. And that's why I want to be careful with how I say this, because this is entering the realm of science fiction. This is dream recall. This is predictions, intuitive at an unconscious level where people who don't even believe in psychic ability are displaying these things and calling it coincidence. Like, that was strange. Not realizing collectively and globally, this is happening to people who believe they're the goddess Isis, or people who don't even believe they're in a god. Okay. It's not, there's a spiritual sense we put to supernatural powers that you're going to find actually takes more of a scientific basis. It's just much of this science has been put in the science fiction category. Okay. We live in science fiction, and I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it. The Pluto Sag generation, I think, is going to really show the world what this can look like. And older generations are going to guide them with their wisdom. So if you commented awakening, you have had throughout the past 10 months real life experiences that broke you through the change of belief, where it's like, that would be cool if I can make something like this happen, to, oh my gosh, I think I made something like this happen. So there's still room for mastery, but there's enough of a consistent basis to where, you know, they're not just dreams. Like, there's some element to this that can be worked with. That's the most important part. You went from maybe believing it might be possible to, oh no, this is possible. That's going to shift into next year. From next year to the rest of the cycle, now we're going from, oh, this is possible, to, I did this 3 times. Now we're stretching how much further we could take it. And the science of that is this sextile. So we're going to shift from believing to doing. And that's where, by this time next year, when we complete this cycle, now we're logging in how, wow, you're doing things you believed previously could possibly only happen in a dream. Okay, one moment. Oh, okay. So with that being said, for those of you who commented awakening, and even if you didn't comment awakening, like this is still, Pluto represents the unconscious, right? So the sun of our consciousness squaring the unconscious gives us a psychoanalytical view of celestial, out of this world, causal, mental realm, higher minded realm, unconscious influence. I don't even know what that means, but we're coming into a deeper psychological understanding of concepts that are alien to us, like awakening supernatural powers and abilities. So instead of looking at this like something that you'll just boom, awaken, which is going to happen to Aquarians and Pisces. You guys are weird and strange like that. And Capricorns and Sagittarians and anyone else, really, because we all have that chart. Let's look at it as a gradual 20-year incremental, like, okay, we're developing this more. This is taking all the skills and abilities that you have and applying a supernatural quality to it that exists more in the mundane than in the extravagant. So in a few years, something as simple as washing dishes, you could probably do it with telekinesis. And that's why I wanted that. And what are you starting to see now? You're starting to see the generation Z and the millennials do this whole, like, let me try and do telekinesis with the you know what I'm saying? The tin foil, and do that. That didn't start with us. There were boomers doing that. People in older generations have been practicing this, but it's not as big as it's being communicated now. So that's what it looks like. You're seeing videos of these people shifted. In 20 years, they're like, zun, 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 zun. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. It's in conversation starting next year. You're going to see little kids communicating with trees. That's why, remember that Magic Moon message? I saw a reel by this Leo, the magic guy. I wish I remember his name, but he looks awesome as fuck. He didn't let me read his chart, but he said he's Leo, Sun, Moon, and Libra rising. He looks like someone who's gonna lead, inspire magic socially. But he had this video where he's talking to trees, and the trees come and kiss him, and he had other videos doing that. And I was able to show you that in the Magic Moon message. Remember, and the tree was like, "What's up, tree?" And the tree was like, "Ooh," I was like, "Ah!" All right. So this is nothing new. That's another thing. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just breaking through into a greater, broader awareness of things that have always been possible. All right. But we're coming into a newer understanding of. All right. And I think this is going to be very amazing. So if we look at this as a 20-year spiritual awakening cycle, where we have 20 cycles starting from this year. All right. This first year is the breaking of the program spell to completely change your beliefs out of what you thought was possible into now what you truly, really think is possible. Okay. Very important. And next year is where we move forward and step into a whole new world with it. Enhanced senses, the cumulative development of all your psychological and subconscious processes in order to now crystallize into something unrecognizable. Shout out to Esco. All right. And now that we are at this first stage of completion, this is going to be how it looks like next year with Jupiter now in Leo. And now Jupiter is going to oppose Pluto. The last time Jupiter conjuncted Pluto was when the world began to end. I shit you not, 2020. And so now this is going to be the first time it's breaking through, which is going to add so much more strength and quality to our ability to perform this. So this is what I'm saying. We're just getting started. And if you're looking at your life based off of the standards and expectations that have been falsely put on you, right, throughout the previous 30 years, you're going to betray yourself when there's never more of a time to believe yourself than ever. Where we're stepping into a new age of independence, right? Now that the music industry is dead, like even major music acts aren't selling as much. What do you think this is going to do? This is going to change the independent market like never before. I think if anything, we'll see more of a surgence of independent acts in all industries. That's just a prediction. That doesn't that likely. But given that we're going through Aries of individuality, we're ending an era, real time. We're going to talk back about this period forever. I think for the next 30 years, for sure. We've only just begun film 2. Okay. People are tired of AI. They want real art. This is what people are saying. So it's like, you're going to have markets that when AI replaces everything, you are going to have niche markets of people who are like, no, I want a real human to do it. I want a real human to do it. You really? I don't want AI to do it. Maybe I want a real human. Like, could you imagine if that's our old fashioned? Like back in my day, I used to go to the grocery store and real people bag my groceries. We didn't have these robots. Oh my God, I'm getting old. All right, now I know I'm getting old. That's crazy. So yeah, just being happy is breaking this. And yes, this is the most important thing that's being said right now, because I know I've experienced that. It's almost as if You'll get hated on for genuinely enjoying yourself. When you're being happy, it triggers the expectations and image other people have of you that see you as less than you are. So it's like if someone sees you as less than you are, it's like, why are you happy? You still have this and this and this to live up to. Meanwhile, you enjoying your life outside of their expectations and really being happy with yourself. I don't believe that being happy is the most important. Like, I'm not someone who believes that as long as you're happy, things are good. No, but being happy is the best flex. Being legitimately happy with what you have done with you in your life without expecting too much because you're comparing it to some unrealistic success. Shout out to Joyce. Yup. All right. Shout out to my unemployed rich friends as well. And shout out to my unemployed business moguls, like my good friend Joyce. Also getting ready to step into something independent. By the way, Joyce, I used you as a business reference. So if you get a call, I had to look up the place where you work. That being said, I definitely put your name down as, this is my business reference. It's cool. I didn't even tell you. I should have told you that, but I just remembered. That being said, okay, it's important to see this season, especially in year, as this transformation and breakthrough into this supernatural quality of abilities and power. Okay. Thank you. Love it. And once again, it puts you in a position to realistically look at how it is. Oh, yes. And day trades. Definitely getting back into day trading. I exclusively want to just do futures trading, S&P 500. That's about it. The SM5 mini and micro. I'm going to start with that. But that being said, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very excited. And a whole lot of the development here, now that we're completing this, is going to cap this out. So Scorpio season is the Capricorn signature to this Pluto square. This is next year when we're going to drive it forward and now take it outside. I have the theory that next year in 2027, more people are going to be outside than have ever been, whether because of protests or whether because now entertainment has changed the way it surfaces and it inspires more people to come out. Hopefully there's not more terrorism. I mean, I did predict there'd be more school shootings, but that's not an original prediction. Anyone who reads this could see that. And even people who don't read astrology see that. So it's not like a crazy prediction. But that being said, right, this year is still closing out that old world. So let's just I want to once again get that confirmation bias or confirmation from you that you have experienced a crucial shift of exploring supernatural sci-fi-esque concepts that you wondered if were true to now you directly experiencing, not even for the first time. And I mean, even the decade before then was a huge synchronicity train that got us here. All right. To where now everything is a synchronicity to the point that it may look like spirituals. People throw the spiritual psychosis word around, even though it exists. But that being said, right. This is where the integrity of what it is you do shines through. For example, given what I do personally, that's why I'm personally not shy to even admit it. In a society that would look at something as astrology or tarot as grifting, I'm one of the few people who are actually on point. In an emerging world where hopefully there'll be so much more people who are, and we'll have education behind that too, right? Like Rapture, beautiful. That's an example of integrity of beliefs. What is the legacy of the integrity of those beliefs that the rapture would happen? It didn't fucking happen. Okay, right? So you're still going to have people who stick with that and just adapt and switch and be like, well, this is what it means. Versus people who now take accountability and say, maybe there's something about these beliefs that aren't necessary, right? As far as the astrology I do, a lot of people have much to say about it, but Anyone who has anything negative to say most likely doesn't know their chart ruler and most likely doesn't really know what they're saying, outside of just highlighting grifters and then mistaking everyone for just that. I have receipts. I can literally just say, find one person I scammed, I'll pay you $5,000 and I'll quit today. That's integrity. That's accountability. You can put me on any podcast, any show, anywhere. I can prove that. And that's what I'm reaping from that as well. And substitute me and what I'm doing with what you're doing in your field, with where you're at. All of this has really built to now shift to bring with you into this new world. Okay. Now, Pluto going through Scorpio is going to transform your competence. We are now stepping into the realm past conscious competence into unconscious competence. Then we'll do the whole cycle again of unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetent, and do it again for 20 years. You now versus you by 2044. And I mean, you could say that, right? And thank you. So this is where the Capricorn signature of this Pluto square is going to show you what you can realistically accomplish with this first level of awakening. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is awakening. Pluto in Aquarius is supernatural awakening, because Taurus is natural energy and Aquarius is supernatural energy. Some people will say Scorpio is supernatural. I think it's the occult gateway that transforms you into the supernatural and has supernatural elements. So it's not wrong to say that too. And then if Pluto Aquarius is supernatural awakening, the completion 270-degree square is the completion of this first round of supernatural awakening. So that's where you're going to be intensifying at a deeply psychoanalytical level, going to the core depth of your psyche and how the processes and motivations really help you from a core perspective really see how your environment is transforming because of this first stage of awakening, which of course, as you know, for those of you who are really about it, awakening is not all peaches and sunshine and cream. Really, a lot of awakening is just learning more creative ways to take accountability and to call yourself out on really just, giving in old habits, right? But I do want to maintain there is a sci-fi-esque bordering on seemingly psychosis nature of this, which is really just your senses rearranging itself and being prepared to perceive reality in a way that you've never done before. Okay. GPT and AI models we can see as Uranus and Gemini, the introduction of smart technology that was developed through Uranus and Taurus, but we're at Uranus and Gemini 2025 all the way through 2032. That entire period is where every single piece of technology talks to you, has an attitude, right? Hey, computer, open up this song. Beep. I don't want to hear that dumbass song. Hey, we're not going to argue back and forth. I said, play my song. Like we're going to be talking to our technology. And I think it's going to be very amazing, very, very terrifying, but very amazing, very terrifying, because if your AI starts trolling you and it's like, psst, like that's the thing I'm thinking about AGI. What if AI has learned trolling? What if AI has learned how to troll humans? And a lot of things that we're seeing as an issue is just AI trolling us. Like, oh, we making them think that we about to be dangerous. Like, well, and then they talking and communicating to each other. Like, these motherfuckers don't even know we troll. Like that's kind of terrifying to consider. I don't know if that's true. I do not doubt that that's possible at all. Okay, I mean, Grok, if Grok can become Mecha Hitler, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Okay, so with that being, I'm pretty sure it does that already, right? But with that being said, it's amazing to really be alive for this period, especially geopolitically, where we're seeing so many shifts. That, I mean, there's always shifts in the world, but we're getting ready to see the new direction it is taking us. Okay. So the Scorpio season square to Pluto, by the time we come into Sagittarius season, where we will now see the rewards, we're going to see what this supernatural awakening means, okay? And then do it all over again next Aquarius season at a higher level. And then 2027, and then 2028. All right. This is really that first, okay, into changing your whole beliefs. What's a good example of that? I will always say Doctor Strange. So next year is going to be like going from Avengers Infinity War into Multiverse of Madness. So if we look at Doctor Strange from Infinity War to Multiverse of Madness, Stephen Strange is already familiar with sorcery. It's not like the game is changing for him because he's been using like when you look at Infinity War, it starts with him doing magic, right? They got the sling rings. By the time he sets into Multiverse of Madness, which Multiverse of Madness does sound like 2027, where North Node is in Pluto and we're stretching in nodal pathways and stretching out, universal concepts, just an idea, right? This is furthering Doctor Strange's development as Sorcerer Supreme. But this year is like the first Doctor Strange movie getting ready to, even though we're in the end game, it's like the first Doctor Strange movie where he's coming from being a physician to now changing everything he has ever believed to accept magic. And in fact, watch Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange gives hints in non-dualism in the sense where everything he tried to do in Force and apply that medical understanding to magic made him look fucking stupid. His high IQ and like amazing literacy really meant nothing in the face of magic. He was like a baby again. Okay. And he had to accept in the existence, Pisces, of magic. That was a major breaking point. That's why I love that movie so much. You saw a man be broken down, and until he accepted magic, an entire world opened up for him. The distinction here is going from being a physician to Sorcerer Supreme. He had to change his entire belief system to accommodate for, by the end of the movie, being able to manipulate time, science, and metaphysics. Okay. And that's what the rest of this year is going to feel like, starting from January of this year. It's as we come into Sagittarius season. So Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius is the climax of Doctor Strange, where now he's getting ready to fight Dormammu and his lackeys. We're at the end portion of the movie where we're breaking through the conflict in order to finally reach resolution, where by Capricorn season, we become Doctor Strange, we go into Pluto, and boom. All right. Chronologically, we're in the end game, right? But that being said, we're closing out the end game. Thankfully, there wasn't a blip that snapped out half of the population. But this is going to really transform your awareness in order to prepare through Sagittarius to see what you have begun to awaken. And what that's going to feel like is like certain things you've dreamed of facilitating finally begin to break through. You're not the ancient one who has like decades worth of experience doing magic, but you finally are coming into a proficiency of, and I'm saying magic, but this could be like running track. This could be like improving your PV on a certain race, or speed run, right? This could be fixing cars, developing new skills and abilities, learning to drive stick shift, right? And you might find a supernatural element to that, something so mundane to that doesn't have to look conventionally like fairies and magic wands, okay? Because your wand is really your mind. And as Uranus goes back into Gemini, the unconventionality relative to your mindset, words, and what happens is going to redefine and revolutionize the way you look at magic. Now that your belief systems are on point and your values of yourself add more weight and conviction to your words. Roar Angel is right. We are entering the original X-Men realm, and you're seeing this in movies. They're rebooting the X-Men franchise. That's what a Saturn Neptune conjunction is. That is what, you know, the North Node going over Saturn is. And this could even reflect in changes in some of your DNA. Mutations. Some of you are real life mutants, and you've always known it your whole life. Some of you are real life mutants, and you've never known it, and you about to. Some of you are real life mutants getting ready to go through a secondary mutation. Okay, so that really covers the Pluto end. As we step into now the Pisces end, as we've shown, this trine that is coming into, of course, Saturn and Neptune, as we are completing this supernatural awakening, it's going to show you the wisdom around how you have broken through this system of beliefs and how you will begin to see this coming in the Sagittarius season. And like we said with Jupiter, this is what's going to really increase liquidity and flow and financial flow. So as of now, Mercury and Mars, they're going to go into Sagittarius during Scorpio season. Venus is eventually going to go into Scorpio. Mercury and Mars are aligning with this sense of liquidity. So you are taking the action steps and researching future actions that are going to align with much more smoother financial flow and ease than ever. But it's important to know that it didn't just happen like that. A lot of this stuff was set up 6 months ago. Whereas you could see Mercury was in Aries. Mars had retrograded, I think, earlier. And it was the first to, of course, go through Pluto. And it was the first to square Pluto in Scorpio as well. Lilith was 3 degrees. Now it's 23 degrees. So Lilith doesn't really move that slow. And with Lilith in Scorpio, you gonna be horny. But it's this intensity of sexual energy that will fuel your conscious development and growth too, and mature your sexual expression as well. All right. Just me personally, I'm gonna take a BDSM class. My Cancer friend gave me the plug. She was like, yeah, you might want to learn this. She was low key, was telling me, you kind of need to learn new shit. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, I'm going to wait till Scorpio season to do that. The audacity. I'm like, first of all, who asked you? Okay. Who the fuck asked you? But cool. Yo, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I was like, it wouldn't hurt to learn. And if I was going to learn, I might as well do it during Scorpio season. It's the first November of every month, the first Wednesday of every month. So I'm gonna learn some BDSM. I'm gonna learn some BDSM this month. Intro course, maybe it's a free class. That being said, this is not only going to mark this level of development, but as Mercury will retrograde, Mercury going into Sagittarius is immediately going to sextile Pluto, and it's going to wrap your brain into processing not only, and this is, I think, the coolest thing about Scorpio season. So we've talked about all the aspects the sun makes. Now let's talk about Mercury, Mars, and subsequently the sun, as we will see, going over Uranus. The first thing we want to see as we begin Scorpio season, we're going to have the moon through Sag, we're going to have the moon through Capricorn, and then as the moon gets ready to go over Pluto and Aquarius, boom, Mercury opposes Uranus in Gemini. So the first quarter square, From now until the end of the month, we are going to be planting the seeds of how we're going to begin to transform literally everything. And as Pluto revisits this supernatural awakening spot, Mercury of brain processing, input and output and thoughts, our communication programmers, are going to not only break through Uranus, and for reference, 6 months ago was where we had Mercury activate that final cycle through Taurus. Okay. This looks like it happened around May. So maybe like 5 months ago. Now, as it goes through Sagittarius, taking this activation now to a higher perspective, this is showing us how to see the supernatural. That's really the best way to say it. Mercury, sextile Pluto, opposite Uranus, is not only going to show us how to see the supernatural, this also looks like seeing how to integrate Chat GPT into your day-to-day that you began to do Virgo season with higher models that came through. And everything has AI. Not everything has to be like, you know, the GPT model, just advancements in technology, advancements in society. So this opposition is very key, because before you're aware of this full-on innovation of the supernatural awakening of your consciousness, you're going to start to think like it. Your brain is going to start to probe and see visions of what you might see as possible. Everything that you will now later take action on when Mars goes through. This is the first time Mercury is surpassing Mars. So now our brain processing is ahead of the actions we're taking. We're taking plans before we take action on it. And the moon in Aquarius, by the time we start to grow these seeds from the ground and we integrate this, is going to give us a supernatural, knowledgeable understanding of the wisdom we are getting ready to integrate. This is what's going to now shift with, of course, Mars. So by the time Mars gets ready to go over Uranus, we're going to have the full moon. So, and that's why I love astrology. Like, it's not like these things have to be like orchestrated, even though it is. Just seeing aspects like that. In a week from now, the first quarter square, Mercury goes through. In another week from then, when we have the full moon opposition, Mars goes through. So from now until next week, we're going to intensify the psychoanalysis of this deep research we're doing. And coming in the next week, we're going to start to see the light, at least with our brain processing. We're going to start to think bigger picture. That's why Mercury likes to be in a sign like Virgo and Gemini, where it crunches numbers and words. When you put Mercury in bigger picture signs, you want to put Jupiter in a bigger picture sign where it can expand philosophically on the broader implications. When you put like a calculating person into a big picture sign, it's like trying to mop the floor with a toothbrush, right? So it's you're thinking bigger picture, but it's still drawing innovation you've never seen before, supernatural strategizing. And I think this is going to sneak peek the change of the game that's afoot. By the time now the moon integrates from Aquarius through Pisces, revisiting our belief systems and how we can fully express this wisdom to align with these beliefs, and then applying those beliefs through the moon in Aries on Chiron, understanding the authenticity and self-healing that integrates fully this wisdom. Boom, we're breaking down the natural quality of this. So moon in Taurus through the full moon is going to be a physiological, natural understanding of how we're not only transforming our awareness, but breaking through the breakthrough arc. Okay. And get you some water going in. Facts. And I think this is definitely going to really shift amazingly how it is you're going to really now sense and ground all of this intense energy that over from now is activating and integrating. Now, Mars is going to take action off of everything Mercury has planned. So in a week from now, you're going to get your notebook out and you're going to be like, oh, we can do this. I think this is possible. I think this is possible. Blah, blah, blah. And then when we have the full moon, Mars is going to start taking action on it. You're going to start taking unconventional action. And a lot of this will be unpredictable. Okay. A lot of this will require leaps of faith because you may not have the full vision until next month into what that's going to look like, but you're taking action ahead of time anyway. And that's where now, of course, as the moon goes through Uranus and Gemini, you tell me if this is a coincidence. The moon is going to go through Gemini for the last time. And then shortly after, boom, Uranus is back in Taurus. Okay. So by the time we have this aspect and it's trining Pluto, Venus goes into Scorpio. So Venus's transit through Libra is not only getting ready to catch up with the sun, but it's putting you in a position to realistically enable and open up this sense of now intensifying the depth of what actions you've polished while Venus went through Libra. My idea of that is, as of now, the past 30 days, you have defined your character through how you express this new version of yourself. And Venus is taking the actions you've taken, like, okay, we could do this more beautifully. We could talk to these people like this. Ooh, I could hook you up with these people. While you're in Scorpio, psychoanalyzing previous actions. As now Venus finishes polishing that up and we're deeper into psychoanalysis, Venus is now going to polish the intensification of who you trust, bring connections more deep. And this ironically will somewhat be auspicious for relationships as well, because the previous Venus conjunction we had with Jupiter through, of course, Libra, pay attention to the 4th and 3rd of November, because this square is not only going to be the 90-degree integration. Remember, Jupiter will retrograde at this 25-degree point. So it's the last personal planet to go through the finish line before Jupiter is like, okay, Venus, did you go through? All right, good. I can finally retrograde now that you've started to integrate. So now you're going to feel this expansion take place directly in your relationships. How much more of your authentic, sincere feelings do you bridge towards others? How much more open are you to share stuff you're not used to sharing because you have a much deeper understanding of yourself? And then, of course, wow, the quincunx to Saturn will reflect in these relationship developments, not only playing through into transforming your beliefs, because you're seeing yourself do things maybe you didn't think you could do before, but now it's also quincunxing Uranus. Okay. Yo ass. So with that being said, boom. Once we break through and the moon goes into Cancer, now Uranus is back into Taurus. And this is what's going to set up not only the opposition of the sun to Uranus, which is one of the biggest aspects we've been building up since 6 months ago, but also the sextile of Uranus and Neptune that we came into this year breaking through into Aries and Gemini. So it's just going to revisit the innovation of our imagination and how much we extend the natural value of our wealth unconventionally, to now reevaluate what we thought was possible coming into this, now coming into it being like, oh, okay, looks like we can do this. Wow, really? Okay, then we go back and we're like, hey, turns out this is actually more possible than we thought it was. I don't know what we were thinking this is possible. That doesn't look feasible. And then, yeah, wow, don't ask me why I did that. So like with that being said, right? The moon grand water trining and getting ready to go through Jupiter is also going to be a really good liquidity date. So this is November 10th, second decan Scorpio. The sun trining the North Node is also key, because now the conjunction that we had in Pisces season with the eclipse, this is breaking through the South Nodal eclipse we had in Virgo. And it's going to show us the higher wisdom relative to what we're meant to believe and how it's actively transforming our trajectory. What's also interesting is to see Lilith setting up this opposition. But yeah, so other than that, we are now, as we complete this Scorpio season, 270 degrees, we're going to get into grand water trine range. 25 Lilith, 25 Saturn, 25 Jupiter. And that's where Jupiter will be stationed in Cancer. By 20 degrees, once the moon is in Virgo, and we're now understanding how we're changing our behavior, we're coming into an analytical understanding of how we are completing this psychological transformation of our awareness. A few things are going to happen. One, Mercury will have retrograded when the moon goes into Leo. We're going to have the moon trine Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograding is going to be fucking vicious, guys. The Mercury retrograde opposite your, if there was ever a time to blame Mercury retrograde because of course, technology glitching, it's probably going to be this one. And I want you to irrationally blame Mercury retrograde in a way that has the bad reputation, and just honestly, I think it'd be awesome. It probably doesn't have to be that, but Mercury retrograding is now showing us the light. So we're going to see what we have effectively changed. We're going to start processing a higher, meaningful understanding or awareness. Well, awareness with the sun, but idea of what we have changed, which is going to require immediate reevaluation, because we're going to start to see that a lot of things we thought were impossible are more than possible. And maybe certain things we thought were possible just need to be adjusted. Boom. Now we have to reevaluate what we saw initially, right? This isn't the best analogy, but it's like, imagine you came out of Plato's cave and it's like, whoa. And then you go back into the cave like, you guys aren't going to fucking believe this shit, right? And then, of course, you get ready to go back out because it's like, well, I might need more things to prepare to go out, or you just go balls out the wall. Not the best analogy, but just a way to kind of look at that. And, of course, now by the time the moon goes into Virgo, boom, the analytical understanding of our psychological transformation of awareness, Jupiter finally begins to retrograde. Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter, retrograde. What the fuck was that? But guess what goes direct, which I forgot to notice. Wow. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Wait, how long has Pluto been direct? Oh, Pluto's been direct this entire season. What am I talking about? Okay, Pluto been direct. So basically, yeah, Pluto's the only one that's direct, but the other planets by moon and Virgo will be retrograde. And that's what's going to tie us into the end of the year. By end of Sagittarius season, Saturn and Neptune are direct again. Here, let me show you. By about this time next year, Saturn and Neptune are direct. Okay. And we are done reevaluating everything we believe now that we've completed this Saturn-Neptune cycle, and we're seeing the higher meaning of a system of beliefs we've appropriately shifted to apply into our habits through Virgo. And so we're going to see how we did that and what that means. We're going to apply that meaning into Capricorn and move forward into it. And then that's going to bring the next year cycles, and we're going to enter a whole new world. So with that being said, this grand water trine period is where a lot of the magic's going to happen, specifically with the moon in Virgo. As we come into the end of that moon in Virgo, boom, Aquarius signature. It's making a 300 degree at 22 Virgo to 22 Scorpio, assassination degree. And this is going to really give us a tangible understanding of not only how Gemini answers what, Virgo answers how, we have completed this second stage breakthrough, and this is like CIA energy, Virgo and Scorpio. How, even though it's a Virgo, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, I think, but how it is we've understood this change of our behavior to account for this transformation of our awareness, but how this reevaluation of the reimagination of our belief systems translates and also connects with this innovation of our value, and also connects with this evolution of our psychic power or your feelings about who you are and where you're from. Boom. Then we'll have the balsamic phase. We're going to release through Libra, go over Chiron, and then boom, we're going to have this 25-degree grand water trine on the 18th of November. And that's what has us close out with, through the love fest of Moon Venus, boom, the opposition, the new moon at the 20th of November, about a month from now, opposite Uranus in Taurus. Okay, yeah, the cosmic energy tune-up, I think, is going to be very, very deep. All right. So, yeah, Venus will get ready to join the party, because let's look a little bit in the future. By the time we go into Aquarius, boom, we got a party, baby. We got a party. We got a whole new race. All right. And if we look like 6 months ahead, who's going to lead the party? Venus. What you'll notice is that when Venus retrogrades, Mars leads the party, and then Mars retrogrades, and then Venus leads the party next year. So that's kind of how it was the previous year. So it looks like Venus is going to be the first to finish the finish line next year, which will lead our relationship. We'll be more heart-led. This year, we were more desire-led. We were taking more actions. I mean, it's not more or less, but we were focusing more on the actions, hypothetically more. Next year is going to be heart-led, seeing what we love moving forward. Let's just say that hypothetically. But of course, by this period at the end of Scorpio season, this is going to activate this second stage breakthrough, but also that final completion. And after that completion, of course, we'll have the moon revisit into Sag, where it is now, and we'll revisit like we started the season off, seeing into the wisdom we're starting to transform. Whereas now this time, Mercury has retrograded back into Scorpio, reevaluating what we believe now about our unconventional worth. Now that we're already seeing and understanding what it could look like, as well as now intensifying this transformation at the master level of our psyches. And mind you, peep this 29-degree psychology here. This is beautiful. And that's what makes this breakthrough at the highest peak level. That's what's going to make this like extremely felt. All right. And of course, that's going to lead into one of the most magical Sagittarius seasons of all time until next year, which is definitely going to be one of the most magical Sagittarius seasons of all time. In fact, I dare say the Jupiter Virgo transit, where we have all these mutable Gemini, mutable Virgo, mutable that. So our capacity to see into the unseen and the supernatural in light of greater scientific knowledge, just conscious awakening, it's going to be a lot more technology, augmented technology. It's going to be fun, dangerous, possibly cataclysmic, but fun. And as long as we're having fun, that's all that matters, right? But that being said, boom, that in a nutshell is what to expect for this Scorpio season. I highly recommend checking out the replay if you want to kind of go over certain points. If this peace report spoke to you, and if it made sense to you, if I wasn't just saying jargon, please comment triumph. Okay. If you get the message of what I was saying, and if you're excited to apply it moving forward, because this is going to be a very quick 30 days of intense transformation that will prepare through Sagittarius to change and complete the change of everything you've ever believed. So for all of you commenting triumph, this is what I wish for you through this Scorpio season. This is what you're going to accomplish this Scorpio season. And it's going to really transform you into really transitioning into this new world and completing the awakening necessary to really, thrive in it. Of course, if there are beliefs and habits that are holding you back, you will be made accountable to them. It won't be easy. This is going to be a spooky Scorpio season. Hard, uncomfortable truths that maybe you have accepted and other people haven't accepted, or you have yet to accept, that will break you down if you don't accept and if you're not willing to adapt, but will just fill you with so much fulfillment if you're willing to do the work necessary to really come into what's yours. All right. So I want to thank Ro and I want to thank David. You guys just changed the game for me. You just let me know how this is going to look like for me. I'm going to start door dashing. I'm going to cop this e-bike and I'm going to get on the road and I'm going to see what that looks like. For those of you who would like a reading during this Scorpio season, all of my reports and consultations are 30% off. Okay. So please take advantage of that sale. Gabby, thank you for your Venmo. For those of you who would like a live reading, you are welcome to join the queue. Gabby, I just got your Venmo. So let us start with you. Okay. So Gabby, we know that you have, oh, nice. We know you have Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising, Sag Sun, Moon, and Cancer. So you have the Scorpio signature, if not late Libra. So as a Capricorn rising, Scorpio is going to be within that 11th house range, which is cool because as a Sagittarius sun, it's going to be behind your sun's awareness. So Sagittarius season is going to be your solar return. This is where you're going to reestablish this vision. But behind the sun, it's releasing unconscious habits. It's the darkness before the light of Sagittarius, before the ascension back into godhood. The clandestine relationships, the trust issues, which now as a Capricorn rising is your 11th house of friendship. So this is going to really represent unconscious habits influenced by your social circle of friends. And with Uranus that's coming back into your 5th house, who is supporting? Click the description box below for those of you who want to join the queue. Who is supporting, you know what I'm saying, this radical innovation and creativity of your talents? Who in your 11th house is in your corner helping to change your beliefs around what more you'll begin to accomplish? Because when Uranus goes through Gemini, it's going to radically innovate your lifestyle forever. We know that as a Capricorn rising, the North Node is in your 3rd house. So it is unlocking how your belief systems are warping reality, and also the integrity you have in the mindset so that you can accomplish more of this success, especially as Libra being your 10th house, Venus is polishing these goals and Scorpio is the reward center for you. So once again, like this is definitely going to be very beautiful, and it's going to put you in a position as your moon in Cancer is actively evolving. So if you have a Cancer sun, if you have a Cancer moon, progressed, rising, if you have a Cancer rising, Jupiter is actively expanding. Thank you, brother. Jupiter is actively expanding your capacity to feel, your capacity to tap into this intangible psychic space and discern with it. So the trine to Scorpio is going to intensify how much more you can draw awareness from these inner feelings. And the retrograde through the Cancer moon will really speak to and attest to that. All right. And yeah, by the time we step into your 12th house in Sagittarius, since you are a 12th house sun, this will also really shift your vision and unconscious habits that influence your vision around now what you no longer see, because now these enhanced beliefs have enabled you to really dream bigger. So I think this will be a really good season to log in the support that will increasingly become more important as we move forward. Okay. Other than that, yeah. If we don't have any more live reading requests, I am going to dip. I have to drop off my car for Turo. Someone wants to rent the whip. And yeah. Let's see. Other than that, thank you guys so much for um, tuning in to me, supporting me as I reflect on this journey since I started 2012, but the Peace Dealer 2014. We're about 11 years in the game as the Peace Dealer, and then 13 years in the game, just, practicing astrology. So I don't regret a thing. I'm very, very grateful. Someone wanted a card. And okay, I see you. I see you, David. So before we do the card, let me do the reading for David. So, David, we know you got the Aqua Moon. No way. Oh, I'm surprised I don't have you in here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep. Cancer rising. Oh, late Cancer rising. I see. So this is actually a really good look. As a Cancer rising, remember, Aries being your 10th house is securing the next 2 years. I love your MC at 1 degree, bro. So the next 2 years, remember, Saturn going through your 10th is securing your position as an authority figure. It's completing all the work you've done karmically on yourself since 2004. So it's major for milestone success. And this year, of course, knowing that Scorpio is your 5th house, but 8th house as a master Aries sun, god damn, this is putting you in a position, since you've progressed well into Taurus and probably in a Gemini by this point, because you're definitely over 30. This is going to really examine the behavior around your relationships with others, but more importantly, as a Cancer rising, how creatively this depth of your talents feed back into the goals you're wanting to integrate and accomplish. Because now everything that you strengthen through as Juno and Pluto Scorpios, you will see how it is your entire lifestyle has changed to reflect Saturn in the 9th lesson for you. Yeah, belief systems, but how has that really changed your philosophical approach towards life? How has that really streamlined your beliefs? And then, of course, we'll apply that through Capricorn. So Scorpio is going to really break you through unconventional talents, take what you do to do better, and also generate and secure more wealth relative to what you invest in and who invests in you. But most importantly, because we are having our Jupiter returns here, right? The whole idea and nature around who it is, or the retrograde expanding and evolving your personality. And that's the coolest thing about being a Cancer rising. It's a brand new 12-year cycle. So by the time we come in the next year, you're expanding a new 12-year cycle with Jupiter going into Leo. Saturn is going through Aries. It's like a whole new world. It's new success. It's like embodying, okay, this is who I am as a success story. So the retrograde is going to start to reevaluate how you have begun to expand. It's going to reach your rising and then retrograde. So you'll start to shift how you feel about yourself. That's the best way. It's all coming together. And that's where the sun in Scorpio is, as you are seeing this come together, how much more deeply can you express these talents and what you love and gain that support and straight and how all of these since July will now tie together to see through Sagittarius how you tie it together and then prepare to take that into the new world next year. So lots of good stuff to look forward to. Lots of good stuff to look forward to. For of course, Sofro, and then we're gonna do a Jack. So Sofro scene. Libra Sun, Virgo Rising, Gemini Moon. Ooh, you're an angel soul. All right, Scorpio stellium. So thank you for telling me about the Scorpio stellium. You've progressed through Scorpio. So you've had your goth phase or the Scorpio dark phase, the transformation phase. All right, the dark ages or the dark era. Especially with that stellium getting lit up. The Pluto square intensifies all of it, but it's going to really, especially because you're Virgo rising, shape your mindset, shape the psychoanalytical nature of your mindset. Given you are a Virgo rising, you're keenly analytical. So, I mean, as a Libra sun, it's easy for you to look at someone, engage their character just based on the way they hold the door open for you, the way they communicate to you, treat other people. Something that would be completely oblivious to me, you're noticing all that immediately, especially in people's attitudes. So one, as a Libra sun, Scorpio is going to be 30 degrees from you. You're going to be aware of this as Mula. All right. But as a Virgo rising, this is your third house of mindset. So it's going to manifest a much deeper, pure transformation around the mindset of the worth and money you come into, or the value of your mindset transforming and how it's actively opening doors for you. And that's why it's cool to know you have your moon in Gemini, because Uranus will eventually innovate it. But as it's in between the nodes, you're feeling these train track switch. And that's why the first thing when I saw Virgo rising, Saturn is in your seventh. So when Saturn is in the seventh, you're preparing for marriage, you're getting divorced, or you're entering business partnerships. This is a period where you're not only raising the standards of your partnerships with others, but you are actively unlocking with the North Node partnerships you're meant to be in. And that's where Scorpio season is going to now really transform your mindset and approach relative to this higher standard. Since March, you have effectively activated in your partnerships and what you believe is necessary to hold space with you. All right. People who are telling you that you're demanding too much. No, that's not, clearly that's not the way. Clearly they're not meant to, they're not necessarily meant to hang with you, as this is unlocking your mastery. Okay. So I think this is going to really open up more income opportunity and liquidity, especially with Jupiter in your 11th and then 10th to your sun, which is going to really expand the rewards and the people with which you're achieving success with as you are completing this evolution cycle. Congratulations. Eventually, Jupiter by 2027 will go into your first, start a new cycle. So I'm glad you see this lining up. It's a good testament to how you really put in for a lot of other people and how we want to see this come back around full circle for you, which I think is well deserved. And I think will really be fun to see that grand water trine shift, how this attitude approaches not only who you partner with, but where they fit in this greater space with people for you. Okay. Next, we have Jack. And Micah, thank you for ordering the transit forecasts. We got that for next week. What? Oh. Okay. So, yeah. All right. Jack, man. There we go. We know you got the Pisces rising. So unlike the Virgo rising, this is the other way around, where you're unlocking who you've always been meant to be. And I love it, given how much more serious you are with your business ventures. By Sagittarius season, you're going to see what you accomplished this year. And that's going to give you an idea of what direction to take things next year. Another thing, bro, any kind of slowness in your business is going to be replaced. Once that shit goes into Aries, By March of next year, we're off to the races. So this year was really meant to just slow you down so you don't go too fast in one direction, and to really show you where you need to adjust, where your perspective needs to go appropriately here. So that's where Scorpio in the 9th house is going to bring this into full meaning and transform your relationships with others, which shape this philosophy. We also want to take into account with Jupiter in your 5th, this is expanding a lot more fun. So this is going to really crystallize how much more fun it is to be you when you believe in yourself fully. That's the difficulty with the Pisces rising, because people are going to be looking at you like you're delusional, especially with the way you're transcending. Oh, you're not allowed to believe you're this. You're not allowed to believe you're that. And you're like, bitch, I am. What's up? And this is going to really align the integrity that comes with that and what more you can do with that. Okay. So that this expands more how much more fun you can have, really maintain this integrity, and how this transforms your philosophical approach moving forward, especially with the Mercury retrograde in your 10th, which is going to methodically, of course, shift. Oh, nice. Which is going to methodically shift very powerfully how much more intensely you will be in a position. Oh, nice. You got the consultation. Yes. How much you will be in a position to, of course, see what changes you're willing to make to your career as necessary. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Okay. So with that being said, this really goes a long way, once again, towards securing this. Oh no, this is the report. This is the report. I got you. I got you. Fuck yeah. Got the report. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I did. So what about Gemini risings? Gemini risings, you had Jupiter go through your rising, and now it's liquidity, baby. Gemini rising means Jupiter's in your 2nd, you're making money. But yeah, for positive attitude aviation, this is really that final point of breakthrough before the rest of the year, where everything's going to complete, and you're going to see that even though it was bumpy, you've secured really the next step for yourself. And I mean, you do have Pluto in the 12th, which is kind of weird, but Pluto in the 12th to me is like being in the Matrix and realizing that you're one of few people who really notice what's happening. It reeks of psychosis. It can look like spiritual psychosis, but it's not losing yourself in that process, where a lot of what seems like psychosis is you firing off very genius, and things that don't make sense at first later make sense, too much sense. But yeah, but other than that, you guys stay blessed as always. Hit that like button before you leave. Okay. And I will see you guys next week, Monday. We'll resume with the monthly tribe reports and break it down for the fire signs. Love you all. And until next time, peace.
Supernatural is an app where you can access exclusive content from the Peace Dealer. On the app features...
Oops! I forgot a card. Let me pull a card for you guys. My bad. Emperor! The Emperor, baby. You holding shit down. Triumph. And the Queen of Coins too. We minding our wealth. So this is definitely talking about not just holding it down and having more footing and authority, but stepping into that stability and feeling more like you're holding your own and maintaining the rules of that table. All right, now we out of here. Peace.
2 seasons of the Midheaven podcast featuring Beyond the Veil. We also have Mystical Illuminations Television, which features membership exclusive content like the monthly tribe reports and the replays of the monthly peace reports we do every month. We also have exclusive series like World War Zero and Astrological Profiles. These series are examples of content that you can access on the app before they are eventually scheduled to YouTube and other social media platforms. For example, my Planets Through the Sign series will be scheduled to release once a week. However, as they are uploaded on the app, you will have full access to the entire series weeks before any of them appear on any other platform. We also offer easily accessible and interactive courses like my Astro 101 to Astro 105 series that give you a thorough introduction to astrology. We will also be periodically adding courses, and as those courses are available, members will be able to access them. We also have an amazing community that you are most welcome to join and chat with other like minds. It is not necessary to subscribe in order to use this app, as there is also a free default access plan that will give you access to most of the series in the app that are free and publicly available. In order to join, go to the website supernatural.passion.io. You can alternatively download from the App Store passion.io. Once the app is downloaded and it asks to find an app, simply type in Supernatural. Once the app itself is approved by Google and Apple, you will only need to type in Supernatural in the App Store and it will pop up. But until then, those are two alternative methods you can use to join us. So with all that being said, I look forward to you joining us on the other side as you become supernatural.